How's it going, everybody? After everyone's voting, our Week 5 wideout of the week is Chase Claypool after going off for 4 touchdowns versus the Eagles. Claypool's a rookie who has been showing flashes up until this point. At 6'4", nearly 240 while running a 4.4, the Canada native has a bright future ahead of him. Claypool's line split wide at the top of your screen. He's going to be running a fallout for his second reception of the day. Does a nice job in his stem, and his body language is truly selling that vertical threat. We'll come back to that in a second. Want to take a deeper look at the break point here. Oftentimes, we say drop your weight, sink your hips. At the top of any 45 or 90, we need to have that descent of the hips to initiate our break point. However, this is very individualized. It is not one size fits all. To expect Chase Claypool at 6'4", 240 to look the same as Calvin Ridley, who is 6 foot, about 190, is not too realistic. Their anthropometrics are completely different. However, we still need the hips to descend, and ideally we'd like that chest over our knees, our nose over our toes a little bit. You'll see Claypool's leaning back a little bit here. How much that chest gets over the chest gets over the knees, nose over toes, hip sink is completely individualized. You'll now see Tyreek Hill at 5'10", 185. He stops on a dime, really drops his weight rapidly, very similar to Ridley. These are all different based on the individual. However, it's possible to improve this. DK Metcalf, previously in one of our wideout of the weeks, he ran a stop route against Stephon Gilmore, stops on a dime. Comparable body type to Claypool, significantly improved his ability to rapidly decelerate or drop at the top of his routes this season. And I believe he's been working with Gold Feet, so shout out to those guys doing a good job. Although he doesn't need to exactly emulate Hill and Ridley, Claypool could do a better job sinking here at the top to have a cleaner break point. But once again, does a great job telling the DB he's going vertical with his body language, eliminating any indicator prior to falling out at the top of his route for a nice gain. Claypool's third reception comes on a slant for a touchdown. He gets a shadow or motor mirror press cover defender here, just meaning that they're not looking to jam or lunge off the ball. Before we move on to the actual route, I want to discuss something that is common in the receiver coaching community. This attempt to remove our guys from quote-unquote false stepping versus press coverage, I believe, is flawed and a little bit outdated. Versus access, absolutely no need to pick up that front or back foot up to put it right down to go forward. However, versus any type of press, we're responding to an immediate stimulus. When we have access, there's no stimulus right away. It's essentially a sprint, right? A vertical stem is a sprint up until a break point, up until we get to a cover defender. The stimulus here is our cover defender who's on the line of scrimmage, so it's immediate. Rather than viewing it as a full step, we like to view it as a gather step. We're putting ourselves in a better situation to execute a technique such as a jab, which Claypool works here. Oftentimes we hammer the idea of false stepping so damn much that guys are actually almost creating that paralysis by analysis situation, thinking they kind of freeze up, they're a little more rigid in an attempt to not false step rather than just letting our athletes be our athletes, reacting and being themselves. I digress. Let's move on. Claypool works a single jab here, does an excellent job moving his hip, foot, shoulder, and head all together to really move the cover defender. He then establishes his vertical stem rather than just snapping a slant off immediately when he creates that separation. This is important because it allows Claypool to, obviously clear the cover defender chasing the arrow or flat route from the tight end, but it also doesn't tell Claypool's cover defender or the rotating safety what route is coming. He keeps the vertical stem up until that pressure step to break him off to the slant. Claypool then does a phenomenal job finishing the play, making first man miss, accelerating into the end zone. Claypool's at the top of your screen working a back shoulder fade for what would have been his 7th reception of the day. Unfortunately, it gets called back for a weak offensive pass interference call. It's a great clip to teach guys how to run the back shoulder. Now, whether this was predetermined or not, we can't know for sure. We weren't in the game plan meetings. We weren't in the huddle. However, let's watch how late Claypool reacts to open up to the football here. Here's the ball leaving Ben's hands. Now let's follow it upon its path to Claypool. The ball gets this close to Claypool and he has yet to alter his body language to let the cover defender know that the ball is on him. His ability to react late to the football keeps the defender chasing the vertical stem, and by the time the ball gets on Claypool's body, it's too late for the defender to react and make a play. Exceptional ball placement and timing by Ben and Claypool. This is something that is repped over and over and over again. Claypool does a nice job here on the immediate speed release. Ideally, would leave a little bit more room to the sideline, but he gets enough width to avoid contact while also getting depth to run away on the release. Again, his ability to make something after the catch here is highlighted. He's 6'4", 240, runs a 4.4. He's tough to bring down, and we spoke about that previously. Claypool's final reception of the day essentially ices the game for Pittsburgh. He's running a vertical route right down the middle of the field here, and the play call is perfect for the coverage they get. The Eagles are in a too high shell, and if this holds true post-snap, which it does, Ben and Claypool know this is a home run. They're running a mirrored smash variation, and the deep outbreakers from the number 2 on each side of the ball keep the safeties high and well outside the hashes. This leaves the nickel, who in this case is a safety, to cover Claypool on anything vertical down the middle of the field, and it's an absolute mismatch for the Steelers. Very similar to the situation that Keenan Allen scored his touchdown in our Week 3 breakdown, where the Panthers were running a very similar coverage contour, and they left Allen one-on-one with the backer down the middle of the field. They ended up scoring a touchdown. Claypool does an excellent job here using a patient tempo off the ball to attack his cover defender. This allows the routes from the number 2s on each side of the ball to threaten the safeties and keep them wide, keep them high, to allow that mismatch down the middle of the field. Also gets his cover defender flat-footed just for a split second. Now once this happens, the route is over. When Claypool accelerates down the middle of the field, the defender can't react in time, can't match Claypool's acceleration. Too late, easy touchdown for the Steelers. And that'll do it for our Week 5 wideout of the week. Wide receiver spotlight on Chase Claypool, who went for 7, 110, and 3 touchdowns. Had another one called back, had a rushing touchdown as well. His future is as bright as it gets, and he helped the Steelers get to 4-0. Once again, appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you for your time. We'll be back next week.